Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Falling Skies Fan Podcast, brought to you by Tiger Prince Entertainment, TPE Network.com. I'm your host, Hank Davis, and joining me, as always, via Skype, he is Alex Cruz. How the heck are you, Alex?
Hey, I am excellent. We are only one episode away, boys and girls.
From a, 9.5 month hiatus?
Then we'll see everybody again in 9.5 months. Well, technically with us, we'll be back in a month. So,
Yeah, different show, but we'll be back. Just briefly before we get started, um, Alex and I wanted to promote our food campaign for the Fighting Hunger. So TPE Network is kind of banding together, and we've come up with a T-shirt idea that we will donate 10% of the net profits towards Fighting Hunger. So if you would like to help out with that, we would really appreciate it, and we're gonna make a whole event of it and upload video and pictures and stuff of what we are able to donate when that time comes. So please head to tpenetwork.com/hunger for more information and to support a great cause. I think it's gonna be awesome. All right, Alex, shall we get right into the ratings of Fallen Skies?
yeah, I was looking at the ratings, and I don't want to say it took a nosedive, but
But it took a nosedive.
it took a nosedive exactly. Um, so last week we were at Strange Brew, and we were at 3.74 amongst the highest of the season. Well, now we're almost kind of near the opposite. We're not at the lowest of the season. Lowest of the season was episode 3 with a 2.79, but we are holding at 3.05. Now, come on, people. Why aren't you watching this? We have freaking Jonathan Frakes directing this, so it's got to be tons of Trekkies out there who should have jumped on board for this.
Yeah, they should have, but evidently they did not this week. So I don't know. I think a lot of people, I think it just varies on if people time shift or not. Is this live plus DVR or no?
No, it's they're. I don't think they're getting the DVR or
Okay, I was
the cable. You know how they're doing a cable, the on
streaming
demand.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing any of that.
Okay, because
So
I think a lot of people, it's 10 o'clock at night. So I think a lot of people are just time shifting, to be honest with you, if I had to make a guess. Some weeks you feel like staying up till 11, some weeks you don't.
well, and something has to be done. I don't know if anybody knows if anything is being done. I guess I need to look more into this, but something has to be done more towards ratings.
Oh, you don't like Nielsen's age-old, tired rating system? You don't
Well,
like that?
it was good back in the day, but now it's kind of redundant.
It's good back in the, what, 60s?
Yeah.
Here, write down what you watch on TV. Write down when you change the channel. That's so stupid.
I remember one time we got
Uh-oh, you're
my
breaking,
family.
Alex, you're breaking up really bad. Is there
Oh,
anything downloading or anything on your computer that you
I
can
have
shut down?
nothing downloading here. Let me. Okay, how's that?
Still breaking up a little bit. Let me call you right back.
Okay.
You have to love the joys of live internet TV. Beautiful voice. Beautiful. Beautiful voice.
There, how's that?
Sounds a little better.
Okay. I turned all my web browser stuff off.
Okay. I'm shutting down my stuff on my end just to see if there's anything hogging bandwidth on either end.
I can hear you crystal clear.
This is weird. Okay. It sounds okay right now. So if it gets really bad, we'll just pause for a second.
Okay.
Shall we get into the recap of Journey to Xibalba?
Xibalba, sure.
Let's do it. Xibalba, I don't know her.
Or I like to call it or The episode where all we did was dig, 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 dig.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So we start out with Weaver and Marina having a candid discussion. That's how we start the show, having them go back and forth. And I don't think it really added to the episode, that opening with them. I think they could have just opened with Lyle and Pope. Just my opinion. Did you?
Yeah,
You kind of felt the same?
it didn't really add anything.
Nothing. It was
And
almost.
all it was a continuation of Weaver's, oh, I don't trust you, so I'm only going to give you as little information as needed.
Yeah, it was basically a recap of the last conversation they had. It was
Right.
kind of silly. I don't know. So let's go right to Lyle and Pope. And Lyle is doing the old trick where what was he looking through, like a binocular lens, or something,
It
trying
looked
to
like it was it was a special type of lens, and
Yeah.
as if you noticed, I noticed it the second time I watched the episode, it was kind of tinted,
Yes.
and so it was a special type of lens, and so as we can see, the grid is up and running.
Yeah, but you just can't see it with the naked eye,
Right.
which was kind of cool, that showing him do that. And then he's like, "Oh, there's a boat coming, Pope. You got to see this," because Pope thinks he's talking about the grid. He must have been going on and on.
Yeah. Oh, I've already seen that. I don't.
Yeah. Pope's
Don't
like,
waste
"Come
my
on."
time.
Yeah. He's like, "I seen it already. I know we're in a cage." But there's a boat coming in, and was there any doubt that Tom Mason was going to be on the boat? And
Now, I had a problem with this, and I know you and I talked about it. I think it was yesterday about it.
is it soapbox time?
All right, it's soapbox time, boys and girls.
It's time for another edition of Uncle Alex's Soapbox.
All right, why in the Sam Hill would you ground a perfectly good boat? And you know what? We didn't. We went from seeing Tom Mason on the sailboat. Well, we didn't see Tom Mason on the sailboat.
No,
We just
we
assumed it was
didn't.
Tom Mason. And then split second later, there's Tom Mason just walking on shore, and the boat is grounded.
Can I say that? Because when you pointed that out,
What is wrong with the continuity here, folks?
it made absolute sense when you pointed that out to me. But here's what I gathered from that same scenario. What are your perimeter defenses? Because one week, Tom is able to just walk into the city and then go, oh, it's Tom, he's back. And then this week, he's able to take a boat and come right in. If I were the aliens, I'd just be like, well, let's attack them by boat then, because they don't watch. You know what I mean? It was just Lyle seeing them.
Yeah.
They- I don't. They give me no sense of military security at Charleston.
So just anybody can stroll in, and you know what? That's another thing. For being the supposed the new United States of America, how can you protect the president when your guard duty? Yes, I did say duty, boys and girls. Your guard the guard duty wasn't even doing its job. It was ended up being Pope.
Terrible. Yeah, I think it just hurts the story on a small level, which for us is big.
And this is, boys and girls, this is what I was telling Hank earlier. You know what? If that boat would have gone on shore like that, there would have been a huge noise, and it would have created a lot of a lot of interest, a lot of distraction. People would have been flocking to it.
Definitely.
But guess what? We didn't see, boys and girls. We didn't see this. Like, come on. So Jonathan Frakes, you probably weren't responsible for this. It was probably the writers. But instead of calling you number one, that was a number two job. So
Ooh, he just went number 2 on us. Awesome.
So yeah, that was my big thing of the episode, other than dig the whole way through. So
And then when he's back, so he's like, Pope's kind of prodding, asking questions. He doesn't tell Pope anything, but somehow And you can explain this to me if you know the answer. Somehow Weaver has heard Tom is back already. In like the next scene, I heard you were back in town.
You know
Where?
what, folks?
From who?
I work in a small town, so everybody knows everybody's business. And even in that small little community I work in, news doesn't travel that fast.
No. Like in 4 minutes, commercial break wise? No. News doesn't travel that fast. I just thought that was another little picky thing that's just unnecessary. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, Tom, oh, and have him embrace. Bam.
Yeah,
Problem
yeah. I mean,
solved.
I thought I did like the scene other than that little part. Oh, I heard you were here. You know what? If they would have got rid of that line altogether,
Fine.
I think it would have been better if, you know what, Dan would have been surprised, like, oh, you know what, and you know what, I think I've seen more emotion out of the character of Dan Weaver this season than anything. And this episode in particular, we see a lot of emotion coming from, not only from this scene, but as there's gonna be a little meeting with the colonel and the general and stuff.
Yeah, so we get a lot of good feelings. So now this is where we find out that the aliens did, in fact, the Ashfini did, in fact, put Tom on a ship and fly him to that tower. Because remember, you and I were speculating how he got there. And all that. That was good.
I think I don't know if it's too little, too late.
Okay.
I'm you know, I kind of assume that that's what happened, but I'm the type of viewer that has to be fed that information prior. You can't just assume it.
Yeah. I tell you what. So here's where where I started to go into what one of our listeners, I can't remember her name, but she wrote again this week, but that had submitted that feedback last week about the dream sequence stuff. This is where I started to kind of go, oh, because did you remember the scene where Tom is talking to the kids and he's telling them, you got to harness that anger. He's kind of directing it at Matt, I think. You got to harness that anger.
Yeah.
And we'll get back at the Ashfini and Karen. Did you for a split second feel like, wow, this doesn't seem right?
Well, it's kind of not like the Tom Mason that we come to know. This Tom Mason is completely going by emotion.
Yeah.
And he in his heart believed he saw the bodies of Anne and Lexi.
Yes.
And I think we all know that's
false.
Not the case.
Yeah, I would bet a lot on that. Not everything I have, but a lot. So, and this is the next scene is when they Porter and Weaver and Tom seem to be talking about what the next move should be. Because didn't Tom want to? Isn't this where Tom was like, we should attack this particular tower in Boston and take them down or whatever? And Porter and Weaver, weren't they a little bit going, hey, whoa, let's ease up a little bit for the most part?
Yeah, for the most part, because there's some doubt that Tom has come back clean, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They think that those bugs are in him, which they've done it before. The Shvini done it before. Why wouldn't they do it again? So
True.
I think everyone's kind of assuming that.
And
but one thing I thought about was, didn't they destroy this tower at the end of what was it, season 1? They destroyed this tower.
Didn't we? I thought we went through this before. Didn't we both agree that was the tower that had been taken down?
I believe it was. That sucker exploded. Now, oh, guess what? It's all back up.
It's fine. I don't know. I'm not sure. The continuity on here, and then I don't know. They don't explain everything very well to me. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I thought they kind of did a shoddy job at it.
Did you also notice, because Tom and Cochise get reunited, and then everybody and their brother already knew about Anne and Lexi being dead, allegedly. Did you find that to be odd as well?
Yeah, you know what? I guess I'm confused at how large is this community in Charleston?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's uh, is it that small that information can go that quickly? And remember, we're in an age where uh, I'm assuming that there's no Wi-Fi, there's no electronics, there's no texting or anything of that sort.
They had those big radios at that the battle where Crazy Lee took that re-rod to her skull.
Oh yeah,
They only had those big, huge radios, so they can't have
those,
anything
those World War
complex.
II era radios.
Yeah, yes, the big as a little kid radios. All right, let's move on. This is where Pope and Tom have a conversation. Tom's, asking him about, hey, how come you didn't kill me on the shoreline there? Nobody would have seen and stuff. And that just had the things Tom says for the most part in this episode had my eyebrows raised as if like, what is he doing? What is he doing or what is he talking about? But just then there's that massive explosion. And the whole Volm complex has blown up.
Now, I thought it was cool how they did this because you didn't hear an explosion. There's just this wind of debris just took them.
Yeah.
And
you thought that was cool or you thought that was low budget?
I don't know. I gave them the benefit of the doubt because
they didn't really show us anything.
Yeah, you know what? I think what they're doing, folks, is they're keeping the special effects budget. They're saving it for the season finale,
like they did last year. Okay.
Like they did last year, exactly.
Awesome. We're gonna spend it all. We're gonna have.
But one thing I noticed,
nets.
I thought was pretty cool out of the scene before the explosion was Pope. Pope had what looked like skitter fingers or something attached. It made a necklace out of them. Only Pope. That's awesome.
Man, and you can find those on eBay now, by the way. No.
Yeah.
So the whole Volm complex has been blown up, and it looks like Cochise is just about dead. And when they get him up and they're taking him into the medical facility, I thought this broke the show for me when Lourdes tries to make a break for it and Tom stops her and she's like, no, I'm busy and I wouldn't know what to do to him and all this stuff. And I'm like, that just made it like so obvious to me. You know what I mean?
She'll do other things too in this episode, which will eventually reveal herself.
Yeah.
But that's not where I had the problem with this scene.
Really?
Why didn't we see any Volm bodies? I think we saw one Volm body and that's it. And then Cochise. So there were two of the Volm all together. And I thought this was lame.
Very lame.
Capital L.
Lame. And we know why they're not going to do a big whole Volm army is because of the budget. We know that. I already know that's the reason. They don't want to do makeup for all these guys. But here's the thing. Cochise can regenerate himself. How come none of the other ones did?
Evidently they were so beyond repair that they couldn't.
Well, the guy that's
isn't that convenient though that he could regenerate himself
Wolverine style? But there was a guy right next to him, so you can regenerate yourself, but I'm laying 1 inch away from you and I can't regenerate myself. I just was like, wow, you know what? Have a writer that's in a pinch. He'll figure out a way to write himself out of trouble, out of a budget. I thought that was just beyond lame. So I don't know. I don't want to dwell on that.
I don't know. I hate to say it, but it's kind of amateurish.
It was terrible because it
And
just was stupid. They should have had at least one, even that one other one of them surviving would have been a stretch. Would have been stupid, but it would have been better than I'm just the last one. Period. Just like, oh my gosh, somebody
and you
save
know
me.
what? I'm gonna blame one person for all of this.
Do it.
I'm gonna blame Uncle Steven Spielberg.
Oh, why is
If
that?
you know, and this is why I spouted off about this last season. I hold anything that Steven Spielberg has his name attached to in high regards, high expectations. If you remember Steven Spielberg's stuff from the late 70s and early 80s, it was it was film evolution at its best, where we were turning towards state of the art or state of the art special effects, state of the art everything. And now it's like, forget it. We don't need to put it in there.
No, we don't
I
need to.
and I it's lame. And with Steven Spielberg putting his name to something like this, you know what? I've seen. I hate to say this, but I've seen better special effects on Steven Spielberg's other produced TV show on
Ouch.
CBS right now,
Wow.
under the dome.
Yeah, they have some good effects on there.
And especially the one of the first scenes in which a cow gets basically cut in half, and they actually showed it, and we're reminded about it every single episode because they play the exact same thing after every single episode when they go back and do the retell of
Look
what's
at
been going
our
on.
work. Look what we did. They're like a little proud 2-year-old.
And you know what? I was telling Wayne Henderson this. There's been more gore out of uh, under under the dome than was in the whole movie of World War Z about zombies. There wasn't hardly any gore in that movie at all.
No.
But in this one TV show, there were severed hands and limbs flying everywhere, and pretty cool. But sorry, everybody, I'm digressing. So
We
if you want to,
digress.
so I guess I'm promoting my friend Wayne Henderson's show. So go ahead and listen to his under the dome show.
Yeah, he's awesome. This is where Lourdes set that little bomb. I thought it was a bomb, but it looked like some kind of plant. And it brought me back to my childhood. Jason and the Wheeled Warriors. Ring of a light, your magic might. Remember that?
Oh my word!
I love it.
Barely.
Love it. I'm dating
Did
myself.
you
here.
have any of those toys?
No, I didn't have the toys. I wanted the ring so freaking bad. I wanted that little fake plastic ring that they sold.
They had some pretty cool toys back in the day. I
Yes.
did barely remember those.
Awesome. So this is when she planted that thing, and at first I was like, that's a bomb. And then it started growing, and I was like, that's a weird bomb.
It's organic, Mom.
Yeah, it's all organic, dude. Pat, puff, puff, pass. Oh, so let's move to Hal and Maggie when they have their exchange. They're talking about Anne and Lexi and other thing, among other things. And just then, that's when the ceiling collapses. And I'm like, oh goodness, here we go. We're trapped. Oh no, we're gonna have a
We're gonna have a digging episode. Do you dig?
Can you dig it? Oh my goodness, well, we're gonna have a low budget episode. Awesome. So so now we've got Marina's trapped under rubble. Hal and Maggie are trapped in a little room. And I don't know.
Lourdes managed to trap herself too.
Yeah,
A little bit.
because she's stupid. Because all of a sudden her character's stupid now that she's been so calculating for every other episode. Um, so Ben is listening to the ground, and the gang, they're digging. Because at first I didn't understand. I was like, what collapsed? Was it just the downstairs, the operating room? And
It sounded like it was the lower level of the shopping mall.
it was the whole lower level. Okay. Because at first it didn't make any sense to me because I was like, what the heck? And then if you're going to collapse under this plant bomb, how come the Ishvini just haven't? I just don't understand. They would have air superiority, correct? Why don't they just bombard you until you are just rubble? Just stuff like that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, the United States did that to the Taliban.
Exactly. You
And
just
it worked.
pummel them for weeks until you've got them down to rubble and then send your ground mechs in or whatever. Just the strategy and the stuff from this race of alien beings that are supposed to be so complex and smart is so ignorant to me.
And you know what? Since you brought that up, we really haven't seen a lot of Ishvini ships at all
No.
in this season.
No.
Maybe a few. The first couple episodes.
We seen one in
when the
rescue, that one rescue, search and recovery. We seen
and then
one.
there's that and there's that one where Tom goes to meet the president.
Yeah, that's it.
At the tail end, I think that was. But
I mean, even if you have one plane, you have more than you have more than they do now because Pope's plane is done.
well, according to Tom, though, the Ishvini resources are now extremely thin
No, well, still.
because they took out that power plant and.
Oh, okay. So they don't have the
And-
power to do things. Okay. Well,
Maybe,
I guess
maybe that's the case because he was basically saying that those walkers are essentially not doing anything anymore because they don't have the power to get them up and going.
Yeah. Okay. So it's sort of like Microsoft. All right. I get it.
Right? Yeah. It was either that or the special effects department has no more money to create them, so not
Resources,
going to.
and we mean our own, are extremely limited. Okay, so Hal, when he sees Maggie under the rubble, it sounds to me, did you catch him what he said? It sounds like he said, "Not you too." Did you catch that part?
No, I didn't.
And then he gives her mouth to mouth and she comes to, which that was some weak mouth to mouth. Looked more like kissing to me. But I'm sure that's part of the plan, though, for Drew Roy.
Yeah, Drew Roy's no dummy.
He's nobody's fool. All right, Matt has an idea. He's like, hey, let's go down to the storm drain so Ben can use his supersonic hearing better. And I thought that was kind of convenient to get
So
out.
he's going to use his Kryptonian-like hearing to try to hear everything. And
I thought that was a little bit, interesting that he could get out of digging like that. But Pope and the Berserkers, they're trying to dig out the survivors like crazy. And what was Pope's reasoning for why they were helping so much? Do you remember what he said?
no,
He said
I
something.
don't.
It was kind of funny. I can't remember it specifically, though. And so Lourdes is under the rubble as well. Or is she faking? That's what I was wondering at the time. So now we finally see another doctor in Charleston. Is that amazing or what?
This is probably the first new doctor we've seen, I think, since we first started in Charleston.
Yes. Yep. This is the only new doctor we've seen since that doctor that talked to Anne in a mean fashion. All right. Porter looks at, or excuse me. Is that when Porter and Tom are looking at the map, trying to see where the exits are?
Yeah.
Now, did you notice? This is one of the things I wanted to point out that I thought was a little odd. Did you notice that Jean stuck around for just a few minutes after she had her exchange with Weaver, and she was still in that important room looking at the exits at the map? Did you notice that she kind of hung around?
I did, yeah. I was kind of wondering what she was doing there.
What do you think? Do you think it's just poor directing, or do you think it is something to it?
I guess I feel indifferent about anything at this point. With the writing I've seen, it could be either, oh, let's just put her in a couple scenes to show everyone that she's still around and still alive and kicking, or let's put her in there and put put some mystery to as to why she's there. Maybe she's one of them too. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, because a lot of people have been speculating that. So I thought that was very good that they're continuing to make, at least present it to us like, hey, maybe she's part of the whole thing too. Maybe the guy that wrote us, John, maybe he was correct. Or no, was his name John? I can't remember. And wasn't it convenient that Lourdes got a bed right next to Cochise, who was healing like Wolverine in slow motion?
So you know what? I think this is exactly why she did what she did. Just find a way to. She's going to take out Cochise.
But if you're a doctor, I mean, I'm sure you could get some one-on-one with Cochise, or in the vicinity of Cochise. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Anthony gets another speaking role this week. Yes, yes. Hold your.
It was
applause.
pretty. It was pretty funny because I was following the actor that plays Anthony throughout the whole episode on Twitter,
Mhm.
and he and I find that a lot better if I'm watching an episode. And there's a lot of other Falling Skies fans. There's like at Falling Skies Spain. I was following, and it was pretty neat just seeing what their reactions were to different things. And of course, me being the pessimist, I kept on putting my own 2 cents into it, like who wrote this crap and stuff like that. And
Nice, nice. So when they're down in those, they're down there looking for an exit, and they see that the tunnel is blocked, and you can hear something in the vent. I guess that was a vent.
yeah, I think everybody thought, oh crap, it's those little insect things.
I didn't. I'm glad I didn't think of that, and I wish I wouldn't have heard you say that. Now I'm
No,
gonna be
that's what they
freaked.
thought it was, though. They kept on hearing it, so they were like they were getting ready for it.
Anthony
And
pulled
like,
out.
oh, Hank's gonna freak out if that's the case. But you know what? I knew it wasn't, because they already used all their special effects for
For
the
the
entire
season.
season. They're saving it for the season finale, so I knew it wasn't going to be that.
So Anthony pulls a pin on a grenade because he's just gonna be like, "Hey, let's open this thing. I'll chuck this grenade in there, and we'll run for it." But it was actually just Dr. Kadar, and that was kind of cool having him in there because where else would he be? He's not coming above ground, so how did he survive? So that was kind of cool, I thought. Hal is trying to dig through 10 feet of rubble.
Yep.
But he's running out of steam because the air is getting thin or whatever. And then they go through that argument of you left me behind and stuff. I really thought they focused too much on that relationship this week.
Well, I was wondering why would you waste the last air you have with arguing?
True.
So Hal was, you know what? I'm gonna get us out of here. So I'm gonna do that. And Maggie's like, yeah, it's not gonna work. We're done for. Let's just spend the time we have together.
Okay. Now, there's just a couple problems with that. Now, I've never been in an underground, you know, cave in or anything like that. But does it always seal airtight? Where not even an ounce of
No.
air, where not even an ounce of air gets in, and I mean the size of, even if there was no air, even if it was a sealed room, the size of the room that they were in, I just found it hard to believe that they went through that much air and just that fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
The oxygen was depleted like in 2.2. It was like a couple hours.
But
And there was
but
no
one thing you got to
oxygen.
realize too, they were I think they were a few levels underground.
Okay. Okay, I don't know.
So I will speak up for them in that sense. But
So now Dr. MacGyver, excuse me, Dr. Kadar has a plan. And Anthony gets to talk again. So I got to give Dr. Kadar this. Yeah, I had to just give him a little bit because he is MacGyver. He's our new MacGyver. We found somebody now that we can play that for. I love it.
So yeah, I know I missed Jamal and stuff, but now we got the mad scientist Dr. Kadar.
He's awesome. All right, Lourdes is trying to get out of bed, but she gets shut down. Then her and Tom have an exchange, and she spills the beans. Something that catches Tom's attention a little bit. And once he leaves, she gets out her scalpel, and she's ready to take out Cochise. And I was thinking to myself, who cut the Cochise? Get it? Yeah. Boom. So, what did she say? Did you catch that it was something that you would have caught like in a conversation too? Because
it was something about
we're right back where we
and the baby.
We're right back where we started.
Kind of, yeah. It was something about Ann and the baby, and Tom hadn't told anybody at that time.
But he had to have told somebody because Cochise referenced it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that didn't make any sense to me was like, he was like, I didn't tell anybody about, but I'm like, Pope didn't tell anybody you were back either, but everybody knew. I don't know. Just that kind of was weird to me. I noticed him doing his exaggerated like look made me catch it, but if he wouldn't have done that look, I would have been like, I don't get it. So she's ready to cut to Cochise, and we go back to Maggie laughing at Hal and his pathetic digging efforts. I would have punched him. I'd have tried to knock him out because he would use less air and be digging less. You know what I'm saying? He'd be in a coma-like state. I'd have hit him with that big wrench. Yet again, Anthony gets another line. Dr. Kadar sets up his bomb, but it may not work because these beams, they could just cave in. You know, it might not work. And then Tom hears the phrase, we're right back where we started again. And that jogs his memory. So then he goes and runs and grabs Lourdes, and he's like, you're going to want to bring your medic pack. Anthony's down. He's hurt. And she's like, okay. And all of a sudden she's got energy to get out of bed and come help because she was almost busted. And then Anthony's laying down there, and then they turn the tables on her because
it's a trap.
Nice.
And they got the guns on her, and they're like, Tom's like, that's exact. How did you know this? And that's the same kind of med pack that you had. It had a tracking beacon on it, didn't it? He was freaking out, which kind of made me even more skeptical than I was earlier in the episode, because Tom's not acting like Tom, that the Tom we know anyway. But
it's like I said, he's acting all emotional. It's not coming from the brain. It's coming from the heart. He's not thinking straight.
No, he's not thinking straight at all. And so Lourdes, finally the jig is up, and she reveals herself, and he zaps her because he's had enough. He's got the Volm weapon, and he zaps her butt. Or I'm assuming that's a Volm weapon anyway. The pew-pew gun.
The pew-pew gun, yep.
Ben and Matt are in the tame rat-infested tunnels. And Matt says, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if everyone was dead. Did he really say that?
You know what? You got to think of what he's going through, though, because, poor kid, right at the beginning of the episode, learned that his sister and Anne had died, quote unquote. We'll see him again.
Allegedly.
But actually, I got a new theory about this whole thing, but I'll share that later.
Awesome.
I just thought of it as I was talking.
Well, is it going to be worthy of this?
It's an interesting theory.
Okay, this is what I think, folks.
Is it a spoiler or just a theory?
No, it's not a spoiler. It's a theory because we saw it. If that was indeed them in that thing,
Mm-hmm.
that I bet you it was like a cocoon-like device. And the next time we see Lexi, she's gonna be an adult.
Oh no.
And you know
No.
what? And you know what? This is a typical Star Child type sequence. They grow up super quick.
I'll retire. If that's the case, I'm gonna retire.
So okay, that's my theory. Now let's go back to poor Matt Mason. Matt Mason has gone through a whole lot. In fact, when Tom revealed that Ann and Lexi had died, he was started to get really emotional there, and I thought that was kind of dumb on Tom's part to tell a teenager some bad news while the teenager had a firearm on him. That's just me. So, Tom Mason, yep, that's stupid Mike Memorial Award worthy stuff right there. But anyway, he's lost so much. Even though the boys, the Mason boys are pretty tight knit group. It seemed like a lot of the mother figures that are in his life are dying, and I think having a mother figure in a young man's life is extremely important, just as it's important for a young lady to have a father or a father figure in her life. Those relationships are important.
Because if a girl don't have a father figure, stripper. Yeah, I'm just saying that seems to be the trend.
Instant stripper.
You're like, wait a minute, that's my niece. What? No. Would you like to talk to a cam girl in your area? No. All right. This is also when Matt thinks Ben is indestructible. Because he's like, you're going to be there and you're going to see the whole thing. You're going to watch everybody die and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, this is dark. This is such a dark time for this little bitty, this young character to be saying all this stuff, I thought. But Ben,
Yeah, but you have to think of all that he's lost, and everybody remembers Jimmy when he died. It's
little Jimmy.
little Jimmy. In fact, I saw a picture of little Jimmy. Little Jimmy don't look like little Jimmy anymore.
Oh.
He's getting to be bigger Jimmy. So it's really neat how the cast members are still really good friends, even though that cast member's character might have died off. Actor who plays Anthony, I can never pronounce his name.
I'm not even gonna attempt it.
It's like Mafau, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyway, he tweeted a picture of him seeing little Jimmy a couple weeks back, and he said, "Look, at little Jimmy's not as little no more." I was like, "Oh my word!"
That's awesome.
He looks like a young man now.
He's all like 6'2".
So yeah, and the character that played Di, all those guys are still close.
So Ben, he uses his bionic hearing, and he hears something. Ding, ding. Maggie is banging on pipes as they run out of air.
Well, I'm glad after you said that, you said on the pipes.
Oh, not bad. Touche, my friend. Touche. So Maggie, this was just, I'm sorry. Okay. Alex, if you and I are locked in a room, we're cave in underground, and I see a pipe, the absolute first thing I am going to do is attempt to open it or open it. So she says something like she wasn't able to get it open before, but then all of a sudden, at her weakest point, she's now able to get it open. This had like Aquaman, Superman, the old cartoons written all over it. Like, I can't do it. Oh, now I can do it. It's ridiculous.
Well, kind of think of it like this. You try to open up that brand new jar of pickles, and you try and you try and you try,
Can't get it.
and you just can't get it open. Then you hand it to your little sister. Your little sister, zink, no problem. And you know why that is? Because you exactly.
Because you loosened it up for me.
That's right.
So she gets it open. I was just like, I'm sorry. That just fell. That whole scenario fell apart for me. It was just stupid to me.
I
Gene,
know. This whole episode though had so many stinking holes in it. It drove me nuts.
it was terrible. Gene and Anthony are shocked that Lourdes is the mole. I want to save. Okay, I'm gonna save my rant for Anthony rant until for just another minute.
That's what I was gonna say. I got something to say about Anthony too.
Tom, this is just amazing because Tom just gets fired up and he takes the pew pew gun and he's like goes back to that opening where Kadar's little bomb thing is at or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, so Kadar's trying to. What's going on is Kadar's trying to uh, get these explosives that Anthony had given him to open up a hole, and they figured out if they would have blown, if they would have used it, there was a crack in one of the main supporting beams, and the whole thing would have come down. And so Tom's basically, oh heck with that, and he grabs the energy weapon and boom, there's your hole.
There's your hole. He found a way out, which could have happened
Lame.
hours ago, but it just happened now because he's mad. And so when Anthony gets, he gets another his fifth or sixth speaking role of the night, which is awesome. But he comes out of the rubble, gossiping like a little girl. Guess who the mole was? It was Lourdes. Do you believe that?
It's like
oh
Anthony, aren't you in charge of finding out who the mole is? And not one bit was that a major suspect. Come on.
You had everybody on the list, but yet she checked out. That was so hilarious,
Everybody
man.
on the list except for Lourdes.
Not good. Not good. But when he comes out just gossiping, I was like, come on, man.
No, I called Anthony though the MVP of this episode simply because there's a lot about Anthony we didn't know before that we now know in this episode. Like he was given tidbits to I forgot, I think it was Tom Mason about how his little brother used to lock him inside a dark room.
Yes,
And so since then he kind of gets claustrophobic now with that,
Yep,
and just
yep.
little tidbits like that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was good
And then
stuff.
and then Anthony just so happened to have some
A
explosives.
bunch of C4, just a ton of it. Oh, we don't have any. Oh, I do.
I thought that was cool. I really did.
I was like, wow, here we go. All right. So Hal and Maggie, they talk about Lourdes. Hal's like a little shaken up or whatever. But they agree that they're going to be a team from now on. Cochise is fine. And he's looking at the burning building, the Vaughn building or whatever. And, hey, how come they can't come back to life like he did? That's what I said to myself right there. He was looking at all his dead friends or whatever, and I'm like, how come they're not regenerating like you, buddy? Tom asks about the weapon, and Cochise doesn't know how it works, which I thought was ridiculous. He has no clue either how it works.
I'd say talk to Dr. Kadar. He knows how it works.
So this human guy happens to know more about the weapon that your people are building than you do. Amazing. I don't know. And
You know what? I guess I just assumed that all of the Vaughn knew how to operate this.
yeah, might be important.
And Cochise is like, nope, don't have any idea.
He has no clue. Not even what's the on button or off button or anything. Nothing. And I'm just like, that is plot hole the size of your chest right there. All right, and then Tom says that they will bury the dead, then dig like there's no tomorrow to get that darn tootin' weapon out. So next week's episode is titled Brazil. But let's get right into the feedback because it corresponds with something you asked me before the show started. So Ion Trone at Ion Trone, who on Twitter, he tweeted us and said, nominee for Stupid Mike Award, whoever came up with this episode title, Journey to Xibalba. I thought we were going off planet. With only 10 episodes, I was foolish enough to hope. Instead, they had a stuck in a box episode budget.
Yep.
So I did my research. So Xibalba is roughly translated as place of fear. It's the name of the underworld in Cochise Maya mythology. So that's where it comes from.
So it
it's
probably
part of
ties in with more so with Anthony.
So yes,
Sounds like.
yes, exactly. So it's underground. It's all about tunnels and underground. So okay.
I did not know that.
So there we go. So I wish I would have looked that up before the episode because I thought the exact same. I thought for sure I'm like something from outer space is coming or something like this. You know, I was like, oh, we're gonna see something far away and stuff.
Now, what I'm really curious about, what does the title Brazil have to do with the season finale?
I think Lourdes and a couple other girls are waxing. I think that's what it's about. Getting to Brazil. No, I'm kidding. Joke. All right. Next feedback. Hi, guys. There were a few moments in this episode that seemed odd, like the pipe in the room where Hal and Maggie were in. If I were running out of air, I think I would work on getting that pipe open first instead of just banging on it and attempting to dig through several feet of rubble. That rubble sealed them in there airtight. Does that even happen in real life? Up until this point, Lourdes has been very intelligent. In this episode, she makes a couple bonehead moves, with the worst being trying to bail when an emergency that she caused starts. As long as they dragged us on, it didn't make sense to me the way she slipped up in this episode. Seems like there could have been a better way to figure out who the mole was. And this is from John. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really dumb that she was, I don't know, just so obvious in this episode. I really thought that was insulting as a
She wasn't
viewer.
as deceptive, I guess you could say.
Not at all.
She was really dumb, not thinking straightly as to how to be sneakier, which I'm kind of glad because this now kind of ties that loose end up with the mole. And to me, this whole season to me has been about the mole.
Mole, yeah.
And
Mole removed.
now, and so everything after this is now just extra stuff for me.
All right. We got a quick, just a short question. McKenna wants to know, how come Ben can't sense the bugs, like the alien bugs in people, but he can speak skitter, and he can hear a wrench bang on a pipe, and hear people breathing under rubble? Why is that? Why wouldn't he be more in tune to know when something Ishfini is present? I don't know.
This would have been an excellent question to ask the creators during the Falling Skies panel at Comic-Con in San Diego. That would have been a perfect one to ask them. That's a great question.
Because I don't know the answer. Sorry, McKenna. It don't make any sense to me why he can do some things, but he's limited in other things.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be able to hear with his super hearing. He could hear the swishing around of these parasites.
Yeah, you would think he'd be able to sense them or something, or I don't know, start glowing. His spikes would start glowing.
Yeah.
Okay, James hits us next, and he starts out his email title was, "'Cause this is filler. Filler night. So, so James, here's my long distance dedication to you. And that's as much as I can play before we get sued. All right. Hey, Hank and Alex. Thanks for the great podcast, or should I say podcasts? You guys are recording machines, so he must be talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up. How we've been releasing shows for our S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan podcast. Okay, so there was some important things happening in this episode, but overall it felt a bit like a filler episode. So I noticed a couple of things. Cochise has no peripheral vision. He walked into a wall while talking about love with Mason, which was a little bit weird. Awesome peripheral.
I think it was kind of like that scene from Star Wars in which the stormtrooper bumps his head in the Death Star. And you know, as many times as I watched that movie, I didn't catch that scene until my brother-in-law pointed it out to me about 20 years ago.
That's awesome.
He says, "Don't you ever see that scene where the stormtrooper bumps his head?" It's like, what are you talking about? So sure enough, I had to go on. That's back when we had VHS tapes, folks. Went on the VHS tape, and I played that scene over and over again, and just laughed my butt off.
That is awesome. Did you notice whenever there's a digging scene on TV, there's a guy in the background with an angle grinder making sparks? Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard when I first read that because I was like, that is true. There's always some guy going trying to cut through all kinds of rubble and stuff. That is so funny. I'd like to see this show get the courage to kill off some main characters. There's plenty of Masons. If Hal died, would you miss him? Anyone? I'm sure some girls out there would. Them young girls. Oh no, Lourdes is unconscious in a medical emergency. Who is going to do all the surgeries now? So Cochise basically survives a nuclear bomb, and then Lourdes thinks that she can kill him with a scalpel. He said, ha, it might tickle him a bit. I mean, this guy survived a plane crash. He is like the John McClane of the alien universe. Yippee-ki-yay! Eek. This love story between Hal and Maggie is about as well scripted as Star Wars Episode 3. Ooh, ouch. It's as clunky as being run over by a Volkswagen. So Tom said, first we bury our dead. Then we start digging. Surely there will be some digging for the burials. Although, if we remember a few weeks ago, they didn't bother digging a grave. Maybe Tom should have said, first we'll scatter our dead around a bit, and then we'll start digging like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. He said, well, that's all from me. Thanks again, guys. James from Melbourne. Oh, my gosh. He is amazing. That's funny as crap, dude.
He's right, though.
First, we'll let our dead get eaten by possums, and then we'll start digging. So, anybody got some rocks? Oh, my goodness. Okay, we have one more. Here's Rebecca coming back after her elaborate email last week. Here she goes. Okay, so I was wrong about this episode being part of a dream state that Tom was in. But you have to admit, when Tom started asking, what did you say? We're right back where we started. There was a moment in which I thought it was a dream still. Overall, this episode was a letdown for me, considering the past two episodes have been pretty good. Well, thanks for the show, and that's Rebecca. Oh, there's nothing wrong with having a theory and being wrong. I do it every week. So always send us your theories. We don't care. Alex, it's time to give out ratings and then the stupid Mike award. I can only give this episode a 5. It was terrible for me.
Okay.
I didn't like it at all.
I was gonna do one better with a 6, but that's still
low.
a pretty low standard. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
tough.
and I think James nailed it when he said this was a filler episode.
It was. It was like,
And
get ready for next week.
there was only one thing that wasn't filler, and that was they finally got Lourdes.
Yes. But the whole
But now,
episode didn't, the way it happened didn't, it wasn't as grand as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be
yeah,
more
yeah,
at
you know what?
stake.
Yeah. You thought it was gonna. It did seem kind of too easy or too low key.
Mhm.
And now people are gonna look at Lourdes and Hale made a comment like, "Oh, people still don't trust me." You know what? I beg to differ. This Hale Mason got off scot free.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Lourdes has a large body count.
Yes, she does.
She's not a Mason, so she's not going to get off scot free.
No, she'll be hanged at dawn. They'll kill her. They're going to have to kill her off. There's just no. Or they'll try that potato and then it'll kill her. It won't work for her. Something like that. Who we giving this stupid Mike award to? Who's your vote going
I don't
towards?
know.
There's so many.
I saw two different Tom Mason instances.
The writers? No, I'm just kidding. Lourdes did some stupid things. She was kind of stupid. Or do you think Tom should get it for the 18th week in a row?
You know what? Why ruin a good thing?
Okay. Well,
And this is why. You know, Tom had access to that gun throughout probably since they got Lourdes, and just then he decided to use it to open up a hole.
Dude.
Come on, he could have done that earlier.
thank you. It saved us a whole bunch of trouble. Or Maggie not twisting the
why
pipe.
would you? And another thing, why would you ruin a perfectly good sailing boat? You should have anchored and then swam back to shore. And there's another way that you can get from here to there instead of beaching it on the shoreline.
Yeah, it's going to take some muscle to get that sucker off. What about Maggie not twisting the pipe to the oxygen? Her and
You know
Hal.
what? That's a good one too.
Her and Hal. I mean, Hal was in there too. I mean, we could say.
I think Hal. You know what? Hal had some muscle power. With the both of them, they could have.
Yep.
They could have done it.
Haggie or Mal. Which way do you prefer us to say?
I like Haggie. That sounds good.
What about? Let's give it to Team Haggie. Should we?
Okay.
All right. This is a joint award, so please,
But we're still kind of keeping it in the Mason family, though.
Team Haggie, please come to the stage. You guys are winners. There's a pipe right there. Just twist the wrench. Conveniently enough, you had a wrench, so why not twist it? All right. Well, that's it for the awards and stuff. Do you have anything for the spoiler zone, or do you want to just talk out in the open and
one of my tweets on Twitter was why do they always have to reveal spoilers on the previews? Because they did once again.
Okay, we'll put that behind the wall then.
Okay.
What about your theory? Did you have another theory you wanted to put out there before, or you already did put that?
No,
baby
I already
theory?
did with the cocoon theory with Lexi being an adult the next time we see her.
Okay. So let's say goodbye to the folks that don't want to come behind the curtain and have us speculate. But folks, please head to tpenetwork.com/hunger to support what we're doing to fight hunger. Please head there and check it out right now if you can. All right. For those of you who do want to be spoiled, let's go behind the spoiler zone. Warning, incoming spoilers. Okay, so what was it? What did you see in the preview that really had you going? Had you
Okay,
fired up?
what had me going was we know that they're going to get this weapon up and going. We see more Volm, but now it's like we see a Volm person in a really fancy dress. So I'm gonna guess that it could be like the actual Volm leader himself, which I
Awesome.
kind of thought was Cochise to begin with, but maybe
It's not.
maybe I'm wrong. But we're going to see more Volm in the next episode, and there's kind of a conflict in paradise here, in which there is a lot of mistrust with the Volm, and it looks like that the humans might be justified.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, they did kind of make it seem like they're going to be justified, but what has to happen for them to get their ships through that grid? Does that mean they're going to take us through the whole episode and have to take out one of those towers first?
They're gonna have to.
Wow. So there's going to be a lot of digging in this next episode too.
Okay, you know what? By the time we get to next episode, they would have already dug.
They'll have already got the weapon out. Kadar
Right.
will know exactly. Kadar's going to say something like this. He'll say, well, it'll either work or it'll just instantly kill us, but we got to take this chance. You know what I mean? It'll be some kind
Yeah.
of, you know how whenever they ask the technical guy, they always have some kind of like, it could be catastrophic or it's going to work like a charm. You take
And
your
so
pick.
and so if the main Volm can't get through that, so that's we know they're going to be successful with the weapon.
Yep.
And so that kind of ruins it for everybody right there too. I don't know, guys.
Just
This is-
DVR it, people. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
agree with you. And then, what do you think? Honestly, what do you think they're going to do with Lourdes?
Um, I agree with you. She. I don't think I think the character the next episode is going to be her last.
I do too. I think they
But-
gotta kill her off somehow.
But then again, I've been wrong before on the last season finale of Walking Dead. I thought for sure they were gonna kill the governor off, and they didn't. So
Spoiler alert. But
that's why this
uh,
is the spoiler zone.
for Falling Skies. That's awesome. But what was I gonna say? Because you can't just keep curing these people from these bugs. You can't just go, because then there's no, you know what I mean? Then why? How come everybody doesn't just eat one of those freaking gunpowder
Wonder
potatoes?
eggs.
Yeah, gunpowder potatoes and go crazy and stuff. But yeah, we're sure she has the bug. She's got to go. She's got to get off the show, which, you know, sucks for her because she's been a character they've done a lot with, as far as they've changed her
Yeah, but,
twice now.
When did she make her first appearance? Was it first season?
Yeah, she was in the first season.
Yeah, well, it was first season.
And
'cause
she was religious, and she was all
yeah,
about.
she had a thing for hell.
Yeah, she liked how she was very religious and very jealous as well of Karen.
Yeah.
And you know, they've changed her character a couple times here, and you want her to succeed, but yeah, they have her written out of the script and stuff. But they better come with it next week, because they can't leave us with just a dud, and don't show any new aliens or anything like that. I don't. What? How would you like them to leave this season?
I would like them to leave this season with you know what, I as much as I love watching the show and doing this podcast, and I know we're going to be in season 4, but let's let season 4 be it.
I was just saying the same thing on the phone to a friend of mine. I said, you know, Alex and I predicted 3 seasons, maybe 4, and it needs to be done next season. It just does. I'm sorry. You know, I hope that don't sound negative, but it's just run its course. And
Well, this series suffers from what I call the Gilligan's Island syndrome.
Mhm.
Once you're off the island, the show is done.
what happens
And
then?
so
Yep.
once you beat the Ishfini, the show is done.
It's over. So beat them next season, man. Make every episode, put every episode on 9, you know, 9 and
Yeah.
10. Just dial it up, kill off some characters. I don't care. Just end it. You know what I mean? It's got to be.
Just don't kill them off screen like poor Uncle Scott there.
and Mike himself too. He
And
he wasn't on.
well,
screen.
yeah. You know what? You know what they should do?
Bring him
'Cause
back.
Since we saw Mike die, or we didn't see Mike die, it was off screen.
Yeah.
bring that character back.
That'd be epic. That'd be epic. Oh, you
And
thought I was
so
dead.
then we wouldn't have to call it the stupid Mike Memorial Award
Yep.
anymore. We just call it the stupid Mike Award. But hey, if I could bring up one thing, last week I kind of made a comment about the Volm being the Chuck Cunningham of Falling Skies.
Yeah. Everybody
And
loved
as
that.
soon as I finished saying that evening, I was watching Happy Days. They had last week. They had Happy Days marathons on the Hub channel, and so sure enough, it was a Chuck Cunningham episode, and I like, oh, this is awesome.
That you are psychic. That's what it is. You have some sort of powers where you're like, I can see what's coming. That's awesome. All right, Alex, that's going to do it then. So, folks, be sure to tune in every week on TPEnetwork.com for the Falling Skies Fan Podcast. I'm Hank Davis for Alex Cruz. Until next time, we're signing off.
See ya.